Today I'm headed out to the Pocono region where we are going to do a prescribed fire today. This landowner, I told him he should do it, and lo and behold, he's doing it. So today's the day. It's kind of dry, and there's a lot of slash, so it's liable to be pretty hot. But that's a good thing if we're getting rid of birch trees, which is we're trying to get rid of birch and refresh the blueberries that are in there. It should do a pretty good job. Get rid of some of that slash too. And it's a no wind day. There's zero wind today, so that's a good thing because it is dry. And if it were windy, it might be a little dangerous, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll try to take as much video as I possibly can here. This is a piece that we did a regeneration harvest on over the last 3 years, and thinned it right down, and we had a good acorn year, so there's lots of oak seedlings, but there's also a lot of birch in the stand. So we're gonna try and kill that birch, refresh blueberries, get rid of slash, and create lots of browse for the deer.
Back, it would carry very fast, very hot, and damage a lot of the trees, and it's just not something we want to do. Today there's no wind, which isn't necessarily the best case scenario. I'd rather have wind so that we knew we were backing, but we're going to see what happens.
There's
a little bit of wind. It's going east.
Yeah, all of a sudden we got a little breeze.
Yeah, I just got it. Yep.
So between the thermals going this way and the breeze going this way, probably ought to light on the other side.
No matter what, we're going to light on the downwind side and try and back it.
So we made a temporary fire break to make this a small burn, just to test it out. Make sure we want to do the rest of it. The whole thing is like 20 acres. This is just a couple acres at the most. Goes out to the food plot. I don't think there's any way a fire's getting across here. These guys are excavation contractors, so it only took them a few minutes to make this. It's a pretty nice fire break, really. There's a lot of maple and birch in here. So maple's good for browse, but it's not good for timber, so we're going to try to reduce this. These will all be top killed and set up new sprouts that deer will relish.
We're cooking.
First drip. Go ahead, just make a line of it, Mike. Just keep dripping and
The wood's on fire.
more.
Take it easy.
More drip torch.
Let's just see what happens here.
It's gonna go out.
Huh? Ain't going out. Are you nuts?
Going good over there.
Yeah, don't you worry about it. It's gonna go good.
Now we're getting a little breeze.
for it to get into the shade.
You can't stand the heat, don't have a back burner.
Okay, it was going kind of slow, so Mike decided to do a strip head fire. The breeze is starting to pick up a bit, so that's moving a lot faster, and now it's creating its own upward wind, and that'll close in very quickly.
You know what that's from?
No.
So,
I bet you Joey will know.
you know Tropic Thunder? You ever seen that movie?
There's a lot of logging slash on this job, so it's going to burn real hot the first time through.
And they're like acting like they're out in the jungle, but they're
Okay, the wind is blowing this way, so Mike went out into the middle and lit a strip right up the middle of this thing. So it turns into a flanking fire that is a flanking head fire, I guess. And now we're hoping that it'll spread both ways and finish this thing off very quickly. It's only about an acre, so it shouldn't take very long. Okay, just mopping up around the edges. It took about 2 hours to burn this acre. And I want to get all these dead snags put out. There's root balls. These root balls really can smolder for days sometimes. So it doesn't hurt to put them out. Any snags around the edges so they don't flare up. And that's about it. 2 hours, 5 men, all done. Alright, well, I hope that was informative. The main takeaways are that even if you've never burned before, just start small. Go ahead and choose an area that is sure not to escape. You know, this one was up against a food plot and up against a road, so the chances of that fire getting away from you were practically nil. Make sure you pick a good day to do it. Study up. Like Mike really studied this for a long time before he dove in. And you got a good crew of guys up there. So you have plenty of people, some equipment, and just take like what they did. They just took an acre, a couple acres, and burn it. You're going to have the best food plot going, because right now we're in the middle of a drought. And I don't know if you noticed in that last clip, I took that across a food plot that was put in a couple years ago, and it looks terrible. I didn't want to say anything, but it looks like the Nevada desert. It hasn't rained in 3 weeks, and the 10-day forecast shows nothing. I'm down here watering my garden, trying to keep it alive. My stuff isn't growing here, even though I'm watering it every day. And so a prescribed fire, I mean, fire is a wonderful renewal tool. And using it judiciously and frequently is going to give you excellent habitat and lots of food for your wildlife. Gets rid of ticks, which is extremely important. And also, on another subject, getting over to the food plot side of things, my wife hated this. I had a cover crop here, and the other day I made myself a little foot crimper. There's my crimper, and I just crimped that down, tore out some spots. It was very thick, and I put some, I forget what I put in there, cantaloupes. I think those are cantaloupes. And you could just feel the moisture in that vegetation where everything else kind of looks crappy. You see how that's a cucumber, doesn't look good at all. Some of my stuff died and I just replaced it. But I'll bet you that that stuff will grow and thrive because I had living roots in the soil and I preserved moisture by having a cover crop on there. There's no way that that's going to dry out and fizzle out like the stuff that's out in the bare dirt. So when you have bare dirt, you're going to have problems anytime you have dirt exposed. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. You know, it's the end of May now. It only rained once in May, and what happens is a lot of guys want to plant clover in the spring. And I tell people don't ever plant clover in the spring, but they do it anyway, and then it all dies, and then they wonder why it died. Well, that tiny, tiny little plant, you put that in bare soil in May. If you're really lucky, it might rain enough. It usually doesn't. We usually get 3 weeks of dry weather in May, and it starts to get hot, and it just burns that clover out. So that's just one of the tips that I emphasize when I'm talking to people about food plots. If you want to learn more about food plots, I have a course that will take you through the whole process of creating food plots, from the clearing of the land, site prep, what equipment to use, seeds, how to mix your seeds. And if you want, down in the description there's going to be a link that you can go and get a free course on how to mix your own seeds for your food plots. I think it's pretty valuable, and it's separate from the course, but this stuff is covered in more detail in the actual course. But this will give you a kind of a free view of what the course looks like. The course has 28 modules, and it covers everything soup to nuts, and you don't have to sit on YouTube for 2 years trying to figure out what's true and what isn't. These are all tried and true proven methods that I've developed over 30 years of doing this. So check out the free masterclass in mixing your food plot seeds so you can get those beautiful cover crops and protect your soils. All right, check it out, and I'll see you on the next video.